Alrighty. So it says, an hour after Big Papa left, I was laying in bed watching Criminal Minds and reruns on Annie. I was pissed off about him leaving, no question about it, but then again, I was pissed when Big Papa left. Oh, I already read that part. Okay, so we on Randy Gonzalez. So he the little Dominican dude that Jerome was messing with. Keep in mind, y'all gonna be clutching y'all pearls midway through, because when you find out that Jerome is not only Leon's wife, gay best friend, but he's y'all gonna be clutching y'all pearls. But let's get into this. Okay, I met him at Buffalo Wild Wings in Colonial Heights. Like most brothers on the DL, his wife had no clue about Randy's bisexuality. Little did she know, her husband soldier took an expansion, don't ask, don't tell, to the whole new next level. We hooked up only once or twice about a month ago. I liked Randy. He was the one of the cool guys with some pretty good. I thought about making him one of my sponsors, but the problem was he showed a sign of being obsessive. He's been blowing up my phone nonstop for the last few weeks. Sure, I talked to him when he called. Sorry, but I don't do clingy. Not since the last obsessive clingy motherfucker I messed with it ended up becoming a stalker. Well, talk about him a little later. Right now, it was about my little Latin bed warmer. He was too eager for me not to let him become a regular, but his bedroom skills were just what I needed to cheer me up for the night. I clicked the talk button on my phone. Randy had made it clear I could call anytime, day or night, booty call, as long as I pretended to be his duty officer. So he was about to get a call from Sergeant Rock. Rock hard, that is. I love books that just get me lost, but get me to laugh and get me to like, bitch, what? Like, yeah. So it says, hello. The angry voice sounded familiar, but it wasn't Randy. His voice was too deep, with a hint of accent, but he sounded young. I was embarrassed to say I was a little jealous. Had Randy found some young boy toy to fuck with behind my back? I was gonna hang up, but when the other man on the other end said, I know it's you, Jerome. I can see your number on the caller ID. Why the fuck are you playing games? A knot formed in the pit of my stomach when I recognized the voice. Shit, I was surprised. I hadn't known it was him right away. How could I have forgotten? His name was Ron, and he was 20 years my junior. Things ended pretty badly between us, and we hadn't spoken in a long time. I must have hit his number instead of Randy's. Ah, Ron. I didn't mean to call your number, man. I was trying to get someone else. I lost track of where I was, y'all. I'm sorry. Hold on. I was surprised he hadn't hung up already. Ron and I had broken it off, or he'd broken it off by trying to get his fist through my nose. Despite the fact that he'd given me the worst beating of my life, just hearing his voice brought all the good times we had together. Other than that, of what I had with Big Papa, he was the closest I had ever come to being in love. Unfortunately, it always reminded me of the last words he had spoken to me after he punched me in my face. There is no us, Jerome. There never was. I'm trying to get my life back. I heard a hissing sound. Finally, Ron spoke up. Jerome, what the fuck do you want? Did I tell you to leave me the hell alone? As if my life isn't fucked up enough as it is. I got a call from you, the man who started all of my troubles. How you doing, Ron? I know it was weak, but I didn't know what else to say. I was trying to offer friendship in hopes that it would open the door again, eventually. I figured if he really didn't want to talk, he'd hang up. How am I? I'm fucked up, that's what I am? And it's all because of you. You fucked up my life. I hated to admit it, but in a way he was right. I had fucked up his life, and I was sorry for it, but there was nothing I could do at this point. I couldn't give him back what he lost. If I could, I would have. But all I had to offer him was a fat ass and some hungry lips. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Is this how it be? It is how it be, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it'd be funny because, like, I used to, like, have, like, a lot of, like, male gay friends. So it would be funny just hearing their stories. And the fact that this one is similar to the ones that I used to hear, that's why it's like, oh my goodness, y'all. But it's cool because, like, one thing about it, two things for sure. I feel like people genuinely love talking to me because it's like I'm the type of person where it's like you can talk to me and I'll be shocked, but I'm the type of person where it's like, all right, cool, you gotta see it through, my boy, like for real. But let me get back into this reading. I wasn't really into some young guys, but somehow I was drawn to him. We met in a DC club, and later that night he ended up at my room. He never had sex with a man before then, but I can't lie, I turned him out. I guess in a way he turned me out too, because I felt like I was 25 again hanging out with him. He had the sweetest body when it came to, he was like the Energizer Bunny. He kept going and going. We became really tight. I ended up spending most of my free time in DC. In public, of course, we were two straight guys hanging out together. Ron was not ready to come out of the closet. You see, a year ago, Ron had been a promising freshman on the Georgetown basketball team. It was obvious to everyone who had seen him play that with the right coaching, he had a real shot at becoming an NBA player. He had way too much on the line with his career to reveal his sexuality, and I had no problem with keeping it a secret as long as he had kept giving me his good loving. As much as I loved Big Papa, I had considered letting him go for Ron. We could have really been something special until he showed up into my hotel room one night, nearly beat me to death. Not that I could blame him after I saw the pictures. I still hadn't figured out how he did it. But somehow Peter, this crazy white guy who'd been stalking me for over some time, had found out, followed us, and took some pretty compromising pictures of us that he eventually sent to Ron's coach, his teammates, his mother. Peter was determined to make me his at all costs. Unfortunately, Ron paid the ultimate price when his sexuality became public. Ron, I'm sorry. I was hoping that one day we could get past all of that. I said in a soothing voice. At least be friends. Get past it? I'm ruined. I had to move back to Danville with my mother, Jerome, and everyone in DC knows about me now. Everywhere I went, people would whisper. My team members didn't even want to play with me anymore. They damn sure didn't want to get undressed in front of me. I had to quit the team, give up my scholarship, and move back home, Ron's voice cracked. He broke down crying. Damn, I had no idea how bad things had gotten. I thought time might help, but obviously he was still hurting. I don't want to be here anymore. I wish I were dead. I hate this life. Ron, you don't mean that. You're a young man. You have so much to live for. Like what? What the hell do I have to live for? They took basketball from me. Without basketball, I have nothing. There's the only thing I wanted in this life, and I wanted to be an NBA player. I didn't know what to say, so I was just in my heart. Ron, can I come and see you? I just want to talk to you. It sounds like you could use a good friend. I don't need your friendship, Jerome. With that, he disconnected the call. I wanted to dial his number again, but I decided that it would be best to leave him alone. The last thing I wanted was to inflict any more pain on Ron. Now, we got Michael's point of view. I don't know who Michael is. I don't remember who it is, but this is a whole different point of view, guys. So this is chapter 3. So let's get started in chapter 3. It was one of those dreary, overcast days, and for once it looked like the weatherman was going to get it right when he predicted the rain. The only reason I'd walk into Marty's pawn shop in the first place was because the bird-eye view, the larger picture window, gave me of the office building across the street. I had been browsing through the aisles in pre-owned jewelry, electronics, and knickknacks for 25 minutes, wasting time until she left the building. I finally stopped in the front row of the showcases, filled with my handguns. My eyes fixated on a pearl-handled Derringer. I wasn't a gun guy, but the thought of having a gun became more and more appealing. May I help you, sir? A heavy-set, balding white man asked. He walked down the aisle with the showcase until he was right in front of me. My best guess was that he was Marty, the owner. Oh no, I'm just looking, I replied. I was a little embarrassed to be standing in front of the weapons. I didn't want him to think I was some type of loony, or worse, a crook, just trying to kill some time. I wanted to wait for my friend across the street. Kill some time? That's kind of funny coming from a man standing in front of a gun case. He laughed, but I didn't. How much is one? I pointed at the Derringer. The man gave me a strange look. I can let you have it for $350. But do you realize all the guns in this showcase are placed with women in mind? With the woman in mind, right? I think my dumbfounded expression gave me away. I felt pretty stupid. What exactly are you looking for in a gun? Is it a gift? I shook my head, he said. Target practice, hunting, protection. Before he could finish his list, I repeated his last word, protection. I own my own business and sometimes I carry a lot of cash. He pointed at the derringer. Well, that'll do if your name is Lulu. But a big, strapping fellow like yourself needs some more firepower. Come with me. I think I got exactly what you need right over here. I followed him to the other glass cage a few feet away. He took the key to open up the security door on the counter. The guns were neatly lined up in a row, some large and some were small. All looked deadly. He pulled a black handgun that looked like a policeman's gun. How about this baby? She's a Glock 9mm semi-automatic. This baby will put down a mugger quick, fast, and in a hurry. He tried to hand it to me, but I shook my head. No, that's too big. I want something smaller, something I can keep in my pocket that will still get the job done if I needed to. Okay, I think I have exactly what you need. Marty put the Glock back in the case, then pulled out another gun. This is a 25 caliber semi-automatic, what they call Saturday Night Special on the street. It was smaller, probably about the size of my hand. However, it was impressive because it had a clip that was a semi-automatic. What kind of firepower, I asked. I'll get the job done It'll get the job done, that's for sure. With this bad boy in your pocket, you'll never have to worry about anything. He handed it to me. I held the gun in my hand, aimed it at the picture in the window, imagined myself shooting it at the black Mercedes parked in front of the building across the street. Its barrel had a sleek, smooth criminal feel, and I knew right away that this was about to be the one. It was an instant marriage between the two of us. The man and his piece. How much? It's used, so I'll take $250. I glanced out the window again. I'll take it. Not for 5 days, you won't. State of Virginia has a 5-day waiting period for all the sales on the firearms. Now that he mentioned it, I did remember hearing about something like that in the news a while back when the kid shot up all those people in Virginia Tech. He took the gun off the counter and handed to me some paperwork. I filled it out and paid for the gun. By the time I was finished, I had just about killed 40 minutes I wanted to waste. I'll be back next week to pick it up. Thanks for your business, Marty shook his head. I'll see you next week. It was raining lightly as I left the pawn shop. I walked over to my car and reached for my umbrella, and as I opened it, Lorraine walked out of the building. I stood there mesmerized, watching her for a few seconds. To me, she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. Hell, I had been lusting after her since I was a teen. When she would come to my house to hang out with my older sister, now she is a woman that I had fallen in love with, the woman that I didn't want to lose, whether or not she was married. I walked with purpose towards her car, determined to reach her before I got a chance to leave. She got there first, but I blocked the door with my leg before she could even open it. She had a scowl on her face that actually surprised me. Her beautiful, long time no hear from. She'd always asked it when I called her beautiful. But this time, it didn't have a positive effect on her. In fact, she was looking around all paranoid. It appeared that she had had the opposite effect. Michael, what are you doing here? She asked, gritting her teeth. I smiled. Well, I hadn't heard from you in quite a while, so I figured I'd come and see you. I missed you. The beginning of the smile crept on her face. I miss? She stopped herself, glancing around, but it was too late. Now I knew she had forgotten what we had. I knew it. I said with excitement before she could speak. I knew you missed me. I leaned in to kiss her, but she turned her head and my lips landed on her cheek. She was playing hard to get, and if so, I was a patient man. The first step was already accomplished. Getting her to admit that she missed me. Michael, stop it. She actually sounded upset. This was more than just playing hard to get. Do that again and I'm gonna slap you. She actually raised her hand when she said it. Stop what, Lorraine? I persisted. Stop loving you? No, I can't do it. You might as well ask me to stop breathing. With a low tone, I asked her if she was worried that someone might hear us. Michael, please, you're embarrassing me. She reached for the door handle, but I stood my ground, only allowing her to open it a few feet. All right, then, let's go somewhere we can talk. I stepped out of the way and let her get into the car. I would follow her once we agreed on a place to go, or at least that's what I thought until she made a conversation until it was over. I'm not going anywhere with you. You know I'm trying to make it work with my husband. I was trying to maintain some type of composure, but then when she mentioned her husband, I blurted out my true feelings. I don't give a shit about your husband. I love you. And she lowered her head. I wish you didn't say things like that. I married him for better or worse. You're just making things harder for us all. I know you're married, and that has nothing to do with how I feel about you. Please, Michael, don't do this to me. We've already tried this already, and I can't deal with seeing two men anymore. I'm tired of the lies, sneaking around. She started glancing around again. Either she couldn't make eye contact with me, or she was afraid someone would come out of the building and see her talking to me. And me, you're tired of me, aren't you? You just used me, didn't you? I stepped back from the car a bit, not really sure if I meant what I said or if I was trying to get her riled up. She was too damn calm about our breakup. Michael, please don't talk to me that way. You're making this harder than it should be. No, Lorraine, you made this hard when you chose him over me, I snapped. I don't even want to listen to this. She placed her car in drive. No, please, I said desperately. I'm not trying to piss you off. I just wanted to see you. Michael, you need to move on. I have. Have you? We both stared at each other silently until she said, yes, I have. I want you to also. A punch in my stomach would have hurt a little less. You don't know how I feel. I don't think I can move on. I love you. Then I feel sorry for you because I belong to someone else and I'm not leaving him. Lorraine, you can belong to whoever you want. But you know, and I know, you're always going to be my woman. Michael, you're wrong. She whined, dragging out the word wrong so much it sounded like it was right to me. Goodbye, Michael. Don't come here anymore. She pulled off and I watched her drive down the street. Bye, Lorraine. I'll see you soon. Chapter 4. And we in this time. Okay, I'm going to read just a little bit because we're back to Leon's point of view, guys. It's about to get juicy. It says, oh my goodness, I'm about to, it's getting hot. Lorraine whispered. I know y'all be hearing that, but that's because I got the window open, y'all. Lorraine whispered, then suddenly she gasped. Her back arched and her body shook in small convulsions. Oh, Michael, she moaned. She thought I was asleep, but I could hear my wife masturbating next to me. It wasn't the first time. It almost became routine. After we made love, she thought I was asleep and she played with herself until she climaxed. Talk about a blow to a man's ego. But it wasn't as if I could be mad about it, considering that 20 minutes ago I only lasted 2 minutes tops. My doctor suggested that I go down on her, but Lorraine was from the old school. Only thing she wanted sniffing down there was mine. Regrettably, I couldn't deliver like I used to. To make matters all the much worse, I'd heard her moaning the name of the son of a bitch that she'd been while we were separated. He was the subject of many arguments in my house, not just because he was my wife, who kicked me out when I hadn't even done anything wrong, but because my wife still cared about the guy. Oh, she denied it all the time. But I don't think she'd be moaning about a guy that she didn't give a shit about. I mean, hell, I was lying in bed next to her, for Christ's sake. The idea she might feel something for this guy was not a surprise. I already found a stash of pictures and cards that she's been hiding in her closet. Women don't keep shit like that unless they aren't ready to let go of the memories. They kept love notes around those times when they were to reminisce. You should have seen the pain that she looked when I made her throw them out. I lay there until Lorraine's breathing slowed down and there was no movement on the other side of the bed. When she turned onto her left side, her favorite sleeping position, I curled up behind her until we were spooning. I wish I could say I drifted peacefully off to sleep, cuddled against my loving wife, but my mind just couldn't let go of the fact that she cried out Michael's name. I loved my wife so much and was thankful despite my shortcomings she loved me too. But how much longer was I going to put up with a man who wasn't satisfying her? Especially the other dude was so apparently good at giving her what she needed that she was only fantasizing about him. At this point, I had two choices. I could either lie awake all night and worry, or I could be up in front with Lorraine. After a year of therapy with Roberta, I knew I had one thing to do. Big sexy, you sleep? I shook her shoulder. There was silence for about 10 seconds. She didn't even breathe, which told me she was awake. Just surprised that I was also. She was probably wondering if I heard her. I shook her again. Lorraine, are you up? I am now, Lorraine groggily. What's up with you? Can't sleep? That guy Michael? When was the last time you seen him? She didn't answer my question until I nudged her from behind. I don't know, Leon. I told you last week it's been a while. Why? I heard you next to me. You called out his name. Oh my, she fell silent. If she hadn't already figured out that I knew about her masturbating, there'd been no doubt now. Neither one of us spoke for a long time. I lay in the dark and stared at the ceiling, wondering what was going through my wife's head. Would she try to deny what she was thinking about him? I didn't know how to handle it if she did. I mean, the average brother would have been going off on his woman if she called out someone else's name. I almost felt like I wanted to cut her some slack though, because I wasn't holding things down in the bedroom. But if she tried to deny it now, I might have gotten loud. I really didn't want to. Ever since we've gotten back together, we were both trying hard to deal with things instead of talking instead of yelling. I'm sorry, Leon. She rolled over her face. I'm so embarrassed that you caught me masturbating. It's just that you finished so... I put my finger over her mouth in a hurry. No reason to hear her reminisce, reminding me about how I put in another Minuteman performance. She hadn't owned up to the fact that Michael was in her fantasy, but my ego couldn't handle the conversation. If it was going to focus on me and my inadequacy. Look, Lorraine, I know things still aren't great in our area of marriage, but I'm working on it. I know you are, baby. She leaned in and kissed me. And I'm so glad you are.